Amsterdam and the Munsters. We'll talk about Amsterdam first because I just don't know how long I can talk about this movie. Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Huge cast.
Yeah.
Mammoth.
Crazy cast. David O. Russell, noted self-admitted piece of shit.
He's got to get back to that.
We have something in common. Okay.
just a flat-out bad dude. But as people know, I don't really care about that when it comes to movie making. I'm going to watch the movie. I love Midnight in Paris. Say it all the time. Bad dude, whatever. We're here to talk about the product. Many of the movies people see, some people love them. Three Kings, I Heart Huckabees, The Fighter, Silver Linings Playbook.
Good movies.
Hustle, that's where things started to...
Yeah.
Joy, the mop movie, that came out 7 years ago. This last movie was 7 years ago. Amsterdam, crazy cast. Christian Bale, Margot Robbie, John David Washington, Chris Rock, Anya Taylor-Joy, Zoe Saldana, Mike Myers, Michael Shannon, Timothy Olyphant, Taylor Swift.
And nothing made me laugh more than that scene.
Ed Begley Jr., Rami Malek, Bob De Niro.
Oh, Bobby? It's good. It's always good to see Bobby. Yeah.
Man, oh man. This movie got panned very quickly when it started releasing. I don't know where it first debuted, but it debuted about a month ago. It debuted at Lincoln Center, right up where I live.
TIFF? Where was NYC?
NYC Film Festival, maybe? Yeah. Amsterdam. Here's the synopsis. Amsterdam synopsis.
There's no way this is a good synopsis.
No, not a chance. Set in the 30s, it follows three friends who witness a murder, become suspects themselves, and uncover one of the most outrageous plots in American history. Did they witness the murder?
Yeah.
Yeah, at the beginning of the movie. I mean,
Taylor Swift. But they didn't witness her dad. No. He was spoiler.
Yeah.
Poisoned.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. I guess okay. I'm talking about like the what sets the events off.
See, this synopsis is I knew it would be bad.
Yeah,
I knew it would be bad.
Whatever. Yeah, Taylor Swift's character fucking dies in the movie. There's your spoiler.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's very funny. I recorded it and I sent it to Trill, who also laughed very hard at it. That was hilarious. We had like a full conversation about how Taylor Swift is probably done with acting after that.
Whatever. They one of the characters, they're looking at a dead person. They got it kicks up the mystery. How did this happen? Was this a murder? Whatever. It's like a murder mystery, I guess.
It's like a caper.
This movie, I said we might be surprised. And that was what we call a fake tease. This movie is dog shit.
Wow.
This movie sucks ass. Is this movie, this is where I was talking about earlier, is this movie worse than Jurassic World Dominion?
Oh.
Whoa.
Oh.
Maybe not. But then I sit back and I think about it more, and I take that initial score, like I said, and I drop it fucking down the list even further, because this movie treats its audience like we are pieces of shit. Like we are the dumbest fucking collective people alive. For as much as I love ambiguous endings, this is the least ambiguously ended movie of all time. I'm not saying it had to be ambiguous, but oh my God. Like, I could not believe how much they walk you through this movie. This movie makes me feel it makes me feel like they think we're the dumbest people alive watching this movie. It's a slog. It's so boring. This movie is so painfully boring. I could not believe. There's a couple reviewers that I listen to who they're like, oh, it's a shame this movie's back. It's Christian Bale. Good performance. What the none of these performances are good. I didn't like any of them. I actually kind of like Chris Rock a little bit. I thought Chris Rock looked like he kind of had a little fun with it. This movie was painful. This was a painful bad movie. And I kind of wanted to like it because the reviews were so bad. I was like, man, imagine if I like Don't Worry Darling a little bit and I kind of like this too. This movie was complete dog water ass. boring and offensive. It's offensive how stupid they treat their audience.
Holy shit.
That's what did it for me. Because honestly, probably in like the 50s somewhere. But when you make me feel that stupid, I'm going to drop you so far down the list. 37, one of the worst, bigger movies that I've seen this year in terms of acting, anything. Like, it's not going to get down there with I also just watched some other like Christian, no offense, sorry if you're like into like the religious movies, some like religious baseball movie, and then there's some other movie with
You watched Angels in the Outfield?
there's some other Dolph Lundgren movie I just watched. Like, it's not like that.
Yeah, that one was bad.
That movie, the Dolph Lundgren battleship movie.
Yep.
That's how, like, we talked about this the other day. I was joking with Chris. We were talking about like movies we hate. I'm like, Chris, you got to remember, we watch. This is not like a flex. Why
you're right. You're right.
Know, but we watch shit that I don't know why we do it to ourselves, Ken.
Our relative scale is so different than like a human being of like a rational brain.
All right, sorry, rant over 30
Well,
seconds.
I mean, dude, I was about to say the role of Jeff Lowe is being played by Chris Castellani tonight.
I hated this fucking movie. This movie sucked.
Wow.
30 seconds.
I think for this movie, the biggest takeaway I had from it is that for an all-star cast of like actors that we know are incredible, very, very good. All of them are amazing actors. It never seemed like we got the best take from any one of them. Like, it always seemed like let's try it again type take. Like, and it was not someone that made the final cut. And so when I walked away from this movie, I'm like, David O. Russell lost his fastball. He's got to get mean again. Like, he's probably being so nice because he wants to like redeem his image or whatever. Yeah. Brother, you need to start yelling at people. You need to start screaming. Go fucking blow your top, because like that is not every one of those actors' best performances. And like, you're basically like, you're like the coach of a football team out there, right? Like, you got to get the reps in. You got to make sure you get the right reps in so that you can be confident in these guys. And they stunk. What do you think?
KJ, I actually, to add to your point, I watched a interview. It was the Variety does those sit down interviews with stars, and they run through their most iconic roles. He was talking about working with David O. Russell on this movie, and he was like, "Yeah, it's my second time working with him. After The Fighter," and he's like, "David O. Russell is very interesting." Wait, what?
It's also not.
It's the American Hustle.
American Hustle. Sorry, American Hustle. Sorry, I had that mixed up in my head, but and he was like, yeah, he's a little erratic behind the camera. Like, he's erratic on set in terms of like how he directs. And he's like, the other actors weren't getting it. He's like, JD and Margot weren't getting it. And like, he would like, like shout out like, oh, now you do that line and you switch lines. Like, just actually scratch that line, say this instead, like stuff like that. And they weren't vibing with it at all, apparently. And he came to Christian Bale and he's like, can you be my ambassador, like, to them and like get them like on board with the vision? So like, this might have been like the actors did not like working with him. Like, but like, even for Bale, I thought that he didn't get the best take out of him. But like, it felt weird because all of the actors, and I think particularly with John David Washington, like, he seemed kind of out of it and like not into the movie at all.
He does that. He's done that multiple times.
Is he a good actor?
Yeah, I thought he was great in Malcolm and Marie.
See, I didn't like him in that, but I liked him in Black Klansman a lot.
I like Tenet, so
I like Tenet, but I didn't think Tenet was good because of him.
I think he just felt disengaged in this. Margot Robbie too, to a degree, but like that I think is the biggest takeaway from this movie is that there's the bones here of a good movie. You have an absolutely all-star cast. You have an interesting enough concept in like this sort of caper by like the people from all different places brought together by the war and all that. But it just derailed by kind of ship shop acting and also like a kind of convoluted plot in the way that they present it through pacing. It's too long by like at half an hour. And also it falls into my least favorite trope of movies, or not. No, I guess it is a trope from movies from this era, which is like anytime I watch something that is taking place in the 30s, I'm like, how are they going to ham fist the Nazis into this one? Like, how are we going to get here? We have to hear about the Nazis once, and when is it going to be? And that happened, like, I remember with Peaky Blinders, right? Like, it takes place in the 20s, and as it moves forward, like, we're getting into the 30s. I'm like, I know these assholes are about to bring up Hitler. Like, I know we're going to hear about it. Hey, fucking, you hear about this dude in Germany or some shit? And that whole season based on that.
Season
like, every time.
It's like, my cousin got kicked out of art school.
Mhm.
You're
Yeah, like
you're the king of saying you figure movies out quickly. I thought figuring this shit out was like, I mean, that was the other thing too. I thought it wasn't. Like figuring out what was going to happen at the end wasn't like a crazy leap, and that's why them holding your hand to explain everything was so fucking stupid and annoying. How quickly did you catch on to how this was all going to play out?
I knew the Nazis were going to come into play. Like that's a big. You introduce like, hey, there's all these World War I veterans. We're in the 30s, and this one character is Jewish. Like we're going to hear about. Oh, and then we have an interracial relationship. Like we're going to hear about the fucking Nazis, no matter what. And of course we did. Of course it was a huge thing in it, and they had this like kind of weird cabal plot, like Illuminati shit going on, and then like that ending scene where they're like, yeah, maybe we'll go hop around Europe for a little while, and he's like, maybe you shouldn't. I feel like some bad things are going to happen in Europe soon. Like that was 90s episode LCB right there.
Really,
that was 90s level bad in the way that they presented that. Like, you can make it more subtle than that, David O. Russell. You know it. But yeah, just overall too confusing. Some cool stuff in it. I liked like a lot of the back and forth between some of the characters, like the detectives going back and forth with Christian Bale. The everything with Michael Myers I thought was awesome, and Michael Shannon as well. I thought they were both really good in it. In weird ways. But like a lot of the other stuff just really in that main plot really just lost me very fast, very quickly. Bob De Niro didn't belong in this movie. Not a role for him.
Yeah.
Ed Begley Jr. I thought was kind of funny. Like the way that they had him act like weirdly robotic, I thought was kind of funny. And I think it was a good spot for him. But really just a real bummer. Because again, all those pieces are there, just not really
What score are you going with?
I'm gonna go with like I'm higher than Jeff for sure. I would say like a 49. I'd say I'm happy with that.
I could have loudly booed in the theater this entire movie.
Jeff, you're gonna hate what I'm about to tell you.
Oh no!
Dude, they stood up and cheered after this movie was over.
No way!
I swear to God, I swear. I was in a theater with a bunch of olds too. So that might have played into it where, I don't know, maybe it was up their alley, but
they fought in World War II. So
yeah, I don't know. They stood up and cheered. It was like the meekest, like one person did it, and then like a spattering of people started to do it, but it was like all like just kind of like this kind of clap. I don't know. But Chris, am I right in guessing that you liked it? Just going off facial expressions. You like it because I'm gonna give mine if
you go ahead. I have a story. That's why I'm smiling about it. So you go ahead and I'll explain because I have a lot to explain here and I feel bad. But you go ahead, Gooch. You do your thing. Yep.
In that same interview I referenced earlier, Christian Bale also says this is a movie that's been sputtering around or puttering around David O. Russell's head for a while now. And Christian Bale has agreed to be a part of it for a long time, I think like a decade. He said there was 12 different scripts and they could have made 12 different movies. And when he said that, I was like, this makes sense now because this shit feels like 5 movies crammed together. It's a tonal mess. Tonally, it has no fucking idea if it wants to be like funny, ironic at times. And as soon as you settle into like a quirky kind of mood, they switch it up and then you're back into like an actual investigation.
There was like 5 minutes where I was like, is this a fucking Wes Anderson movie? Like, where are they going with this?
It's like every time Rami Malek was on screen, I was like, oh, yeah, exactly. Which I actually kind of liked Rami Malek in this.
He was good.
Out of all the things I like him in, he finally nailed a villain. But yeah, I don't hate it as much as you all because I do think there's actually some really cool stuff in here. Like, there's some good dialogue. There's some really good cinematography, I think. But it's style over substance at that point. But I didn't hate it. I'm going 60, and it's because like there's a lot. I actually liked Christian Bale in this. I don't know. I liked him. He was goofy. He just worked for me. The character worked for me. I do agree that some of the actors definitely mailed it in. John David Washington felt like he mailed it in. No. He did not. He felt
so disengaged.
He did not feel like he wanted to be there at any point. Margot Robbie, I just don't think she can turn in a bad performance. I don't know. She's like Randall Park, just a very likable person every time she's on screen.
Yeah, that's true.
Anya Taylor-Joy afterthought in this, by the way, considering
she was bad. She was bad.
Yeah. No good.
The bit was funny. Her wanting to fuck Robert De Niro was pretty got a chuckle out of me. Like when she like first shook his hand and was just trying to hump him. But outside of that, like I thought she was bad. Robert De Niro felt very ham-fisted. Robert De Niro has reached a point in his career where you see him and you're just like, it's Bob De Niro.
This shit, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. Which is tough. But yeah, I can't go as low as you all. I wasn't as offended by it as you, Jeff. Maybe it's because I'm the idiots they're catering to. But Yeah, 60 out of 100 for me. Now, Chris, I want to hear the story.
Well, no, my grade is an incomplete grade, and here's why. I went to see the movie today, and it was I jogged to the theater. I get there as I'm in the theater because I was the only person there for the first 30 minutes. I scheduled a call with someone at the company. It was very important. But I'm like, all right, hey, no, this is fine because I'm going to be able to watch the movie when I leave, I'll jog home, and I can be ready for the call and be able to review the movie. So because it's Regal, it's 30 minutes of fucking trailers. But even then, I'm like, fine, I'm going to be able to get through this. The movie starts, and the film looks like Kanye West's All of the Lights video. It is completely out of focus. It is changing colors every half second to a point where I actually took a video of it and posted it to Twitter. And the first comment was, you should delete this because you're going to give somebody a seizure. And I did. And this lasted about 10 minutes to a point where I had to go to the person, one of the ushers at the theater, and say, there's a problem in theater 3. Like it wasn't just visual either. The audio was like fucked up and garbled. So I'm like, there's a problem in theater 3. I come back, I sit there for another 5 minutes, and it's still going. And then the movie just turns off. And the person comes into the theater and says, this is going to be a minute because we need like basically an entire new print of the movie. So unfortunately, due to time constraints, I was not able to finish watching the film.
How far did you get in? Just those first 20 minutes?
Less than halfway, sadly. And I apologize for that. I apologize to the audience. It was, I really,
just a rain delay.
I feel bad. I do feel bad, genuinely. But it was one of those things where what I saw, I did not hate. Because Margot Robbie, John David Washington, and Christian Bale, those are 3 people I like seeing in a movie together. The problem is, it was one of those things where I could tell where it was going to go, and I don't think I'm going to end up liking it. The one observation I'll make, and again, I feel really bad, I apologize for just a weird circumstance, is seeing Taylor Swift in movies, and Gooch, you would know this, you're a huge Yankees fan. Seeing Taylor Swift in movies is kind of like when they let Mariano Rivera play second base, like his second to last game, where it's like, I understand that you're a talent, but it's weird seeing you. It's similar to Madonna, where it's like, you're too famous to be in movies. I know that sounds strange, but now I did get a legitimate laugh just seeing somebody, and I like Taylor Swift, seeing her just be pushed in front of a car.
It was so fucking funny. It was so funny. I laughed out loud.
It was like that fucking episode of South Park where they're like, we need to throw Eric Cartman under the bus. And they're like, how do we do that? It's like, well, we get a bus and we throw him under it. So again, I'm sorry. I do plan on going and finishing my viewing experience. I cannot either recommend this or not recommend this to people. This was just a weird circumstance in which I was not able to finish the film.
Yeah, I mean, you're muted, Jeff.
Good for you on that one. Bad movie.
Yeah, I will finish it at some point, but yeah, that's just how it works.
I do want to bring something up, and this is kind of like, this is more broad sweeping about the movie industry and like the box office. This finished 3rd behind Lyle Crocodile and Smile. This cast, finishing 3rd at the box office, not even making $10 million opening weekend. Is Tom Cruise the only bankable movie star left? Is that? Yes. Are we going to find that out this weekend with The Rock? Like, because The Rock has been long considered one of the bankable guys.
I have a take on this. One, the movie was not well marketed, and I think in this case it was very poorly marketed. The trailers didn't kind of come out till late. It got terrible reviews. But like the 4 of us, when we look at this cast, we go, man, this is pretty cool. But the average Joe Q public person, they don't give a shit about Rami Malek. They don't really Margot Robbie, sure. But even Christian Bale, as amazing of an actor as he is, he doesn't sell a product the way that, Tom Cruise does or even The Rock does. I think that it's a famous cast of people, but that doesn't mean that there's anyone really individually that goes, oh, I got to see that because that person's in it. No, that's just my theory on it.
I thought Smile was solid, by the way. I know Kenjek saw it as well.
Yeah.
We're in the high 60s, low 70s.
Great ass marketing campaign, by the way. I thought that was super smart what they did with the baseball games.
It also I know Chris Suckman said the same things too on this, but there was a lot of homages to other horror movies, which you could either view as like, oh, this is kind of one of the same. But I thought it was a very solid movie. I'm not into that Terrifier shit though. That ain't my bag, brother.
Stuckman loved it, I think. Did he?
Terrifier 2. Not my thing. I did not like the first one. The new one, not a huge fan of. That clown sucks.
Hellraiser by reboot though, pretty solid. All things
Hellraiser was solid. I was a little let down by it.
Based on the hype, yeah, me too.
Yeah, I expected a little more. Now, granted, that isn't fully my thing, and that's one of those ones where I can be like, that isn't. It's the best Hellraiser outside of the original. I gave it a 61. Ken Jack a 65, but I guess I think I kind of thought it'd be a little better too. It was like, oh fuck, did they release another thing like Prey? And it's not in theaters, it'd be great. It's Hellraiser. That shit's not my favorite stuff in the world.
Same.
But if I still like had a good time with it, even though I don't think it was great. If you like that stuff, I think Hellraiser will be fairly enjoyed.
I like Hellraiser. I love those freaky Cenobites. Those wet ass Cenobites with a big open mouth.
Mimosa's looking at something. What's she looking at?
Who's looking at?
Mimosa. She's back there looking at something.
Oh, Mimosas.
For like 20 minutes.
Making a cameo.
Oh, brother. All right, last thing here.
She wants to talk about Amsterdam.
Final score
Royal match. Mimosa's favorite game.
7 or 49 from Ken and Jack?
Sorry, for which one?
49.
Amsterdam.
Yeah, 49 for Amsterdam.
And then Gooch.
60.
60. Okay.
Yeah,
Incomplete.
that's sorry.